Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. My name is Holo and today I'm talking about what I believe is the most important and impactful role in Valorant and just how to do it and win games with it. Of course, we're talking about entry fragging, a widely undervalued role that has arguably the most impact in the game, but also one of the most difficult and risky roles at the same time. So what is entry fragging? Entry fragging is basically the skill of taking a fight or even multiple fights where the odds are against you, in which the enemy are holding the angle you're about to peek and you don't know exactly where they are by comparison. Extremely useful when your team are too afraid to push a site themselves or are wasting the window of time in which you could take a site against one or two defenders before the rest of the enemy can rotate to help. Generally, entry fragging will win attacking rounds when you have a successful entry fragger, while rounds are extremely hard when you don't have one. Have you ever noticed how hard a game is when just no one on your team is opening up a site? Entry fragging can still work when you yourself, as the entry fragger, fail to actually secure a kill. The concept is known as trading. Imagine I walk into the site and kill a defender, then I die to the second defender of that site. While that second defender was killing me, you were shooting them and they die right after, i.e. you trade my life for theirs. And in this example, we have successfully traded one life, in this case mine, for two of the enemies on the defending side, which is perfect. We've now cleared the site and you can defend the spike plant with a numbers advantage. It's really quite simple, but you do see lots of players often afraid to die and don't follow up for the trade, which is naturally very frustrating for that entry fragger. Understanding how entry fragging works is not only important to the player doing it, but the players supporting them too. I consider this a pretty advanced skill, whether you're using help from your team, using your own utility, or just straight swinging around that corner and slaying with just your gun. It requires the core and fundamental aspects of this CS-like shooter. Crosshair placement, accurate flick aiming, utility usage, extremely important, your movement and positioning. At the end of the day, win your aim duels via these concepts. That's what it is. Obviously, it's an important and difficult role, but how do you do it? To entry frag, we mentioned some of those fundamentals, so let's run through some of those and give some good examples. Let's start with crosshair placement. You need to be aiming at head height. This seems obvious to me, and I'm sure many players hearing this, but check where you're aiming. So many players I see when I'm watching them or spectating them, they're just looking at the floor or not even pre-aiming as they turn a corner. You should be checking each potential location via careful peeking or utility use to flush out enemies. Let me quickly just jump in game and showcase a few examples of how to position and place your crosshair for a peek for the best chance of entry. So let's talk about crosshair placement. See how I'm aiming too low? This player, who may peek me immediately, will be on this doorway, right? Right now I'm aiming at their shins. So because there's a ramp, I need to aim higher towards the head height, you know, to really catch them in the head for an easy kill, or spray up into their head if that's what it, how it falls. So that's where I need to be aiming. I need to be aiming higher. So as I push up, I'm aiming higher and I pre-aim the spot where someone could be, Jet or Omen, teleporting or dashing to that spot. Okay, now I'm going to pre-aim head height the next spot, right there, and then the next spot, the next spot. Then I'm going to do the next spot. I'm pre-aiming head height the next spot. Okay, now I'm turning, I'm pre-aiming, and now pre-firing the next spot. I'm actually firing before my brain catches up with what's there around this corner. Pre-firing on pre-aim or crosshair placement is also super important, but comes from game sense, and I understand is different, but it's a fundamental. If someone's pushing me on this corner, I'm aiming at head height, I think they're pushing, I can hear them pushing, they're about to peek, I can hear them. I start firing before they even walk around the corner, just before, so they walk into the gunfire, into the shots. This concept is known in the CS community as cutting a piece of the pie, or slicing a pie, or cake, whatever circular shape you like. The idea is that you're carefully cutting pieces out of safety. So here's a danger area, right? I peek the entrance. This is a small piece of the pie. This is safe. There's no one here. So I do the next bit. Okay, this next piece is clear. I'm good. Okay, I do the next bit. Maybe there's someone there. I kill them. All right, clear. It means very likely if I've killed someone here, there isn't someone here or here. I still check it. This is clear. Okay, let's do the next part. You know, I'm slowly testing the waters. I'm revealing the area. I'm cutting that piece of the pie of the site, of the push, of the area that I'm trying to take control of, and I'm slowly peaking it so that I have a 1v1 fight. I'm not just gonna walk around. Let's say there's someone here, right? And let's say there's someone here. I don't want to give them a 1v2. I don't want to just step out here, get shot from the left, shot from the right. What I want to do is stand here, shoot the first guy, a 1v1, and then shoot the second guy, a 1v1. That's how it's done. That's how you pre-aim, pre-fire, and do your crosshair placement. Next, let's talk about impactful movement. You want no wasted time. You need to work out where the enemy is holding the position, and then position yourself so that only that one enemy can take the fight with you. Before anyone can help them, you have a 1v1 duel. Then you do it again and again until you've cleared the site completely. Your goal is to position yourself with good movement so that you are never taking a 1v2 directly. We have call out knowledge as well. As mentioned, you successfully entry frag if you trade positively. So you take your life and trade it for 2 of theirs or more. You're going to give your team the best chance when you tell them exactly where the enemy is with the information that you have gathered as the entry during your entry. So far, the game is receiving pretty good updates to include better callouts throughout the beta, but there's plenty more that you need to learn by watching competitive play and listening or discussing it with others in general. The better you can call out exactly where the enemy are, the better chance you give your team on following up on your entry. Next is utility usage. Using your utility to flush enemies out, like say using a Molotov to force someone out of a corner, or just check that it's clear as you walk by for the next potential fight. But I need to make an important point here, and God, please take this in if you take anything in. Don't use your abilities at the wrong time. If there's any doubt, have your gun out. You don't want to be pulling out a Molotov to clear a corner or whatever for them to just peek into you while you can't shoot back. Just consider that you're vulnerable when you're using utility, and only use them as a calculated risk or from safety. What you could do instead to reduce the risk, if you're in doubt, ask for your team's utility with those who will support you, a duo queue or randoms that communicate, so that you can focus on clearing each corner while your team molly the spot or whatever utility they were going to use. So your entire focus is shooting the enemy instead of flushing them out with utility. But let me jump in game again to show you a couple of examples of how I would use utility to entry. So we're back in the same spot, but this time on Phoenix, and of course I'm going to show you how to make use of some utility. So here's a good example, right? So we were talking about how someone might peek us here. We need to aim at head height. Well, how about at the start of the round, I just clear that and prevent them pushing me by Molotoving it. And that clears the whole like mid as at the start of the round. So I walk up, cool. Now we're going to start clearing our corners. So instead of just peeking this guy, I use utility. Flashbang him, right? Okay, if there's no one there, no problem. I flash that, that's clear as well. Now, I have to consider there could be someone in this corner, here or here, right? So I could wall them out. I could flash in. I could molly. So let's just use molly as an example, even though you obviously won't have this many mollies, right? So I could do this to prevent the push through mid at the start of the round. I could clear this whole back side by mollying that whole side. Naturally, you still have to check the box because it could be up there. I could quickly molly like that so it bounces back and burns that spot that they could be hiding. You know, there's so many different ways, just as molly is such a good example of catching out common locations. I don't have to go down here and peek it like this. What I can do is just throw a molly into the corner. That won't kill them, right? But it will flush them out, giving you an easy kill when they come running. Entry fragging is always going to be better when you have a plan. Tell your team that, hey, we're going to push A on bind, for example, and tell them I'm going to take U-haul via short, and then tell them what utility you're going to use and where. Let's say I'm Phoenix and I'm doing exactly this push. I molly the cubby down short just as I'm pushing down to prevent enemies from pushing me or hiding there. Follow that up by peeking the U-haul hold specifically and only that. Then when I know that's clear or I've taken the fight, I peek double box and check if there's anyone on the corner of it, then on top of it. Either I won this entry duel or they fell back, so I'm going to push in. I'll cover my side that faces towards site as I head into U-haul and then clear U-haul. As we come out round the back of U-haul, we check the back site, we check pipes, we head up to heaven and hold the site from there. For this push, smokes or utility would really help me to make it to U-haul. So why not ask for them? You could get a brimstone or omen or whoever to smoke off the site. giving you a safer path into U-Haul. You could have someone like Sage chuck a slow into U-Haul as you're pushing down shore, so if there's someone there, you have an easier duel with them because they're stuck in a slow. You could simply ask someone to follow you into U-Haul so that they can trade kills for your life and so on. This is just one strat, one example, and look how many different ways we can approach it. Entry fragging is really important, but doing it as a team is a lot easier. Your priority ultimately should be to get into sight, to take it, to open it up, to create an advantage for your team. You might fail to kill even one enemy on your entry, but if you did force them out of their hold, do some damage, and then provide information on where they actually are, and then your team follows up and clears it and takes sight, well, in this case, you've done your job. You've done a good job of entry. Obviously, it's ideal that you just casually walk in and frag everyone, take 0 damage, do 360 no scopes while you're at it, so on. But the reality is, sometimes you're just gonna die. But what actually matters is that you provided that entry window that was ultimately successful, and that should be key. Now we've covered the concepts of entry fragging, I'd like to quickly show you a couple examples of competitive or pro Valorant play who showcase entry fragging in a really good way and basically break down how they did it. To do this, we're going to look at a couple clips from Brax. On comms, he says he's going to wait out the flash from the enemy breach, which he does, and then once that goes off, he hits his ult and goes for a ridiculous play. Because he's using his Phoenix ulti, he's trying to gain information. Is there someone playing high ramp? Is there someone playing ledge? Is there someone playing low? Are they pushing us? What's going on? This is a information ult. And so he does something ridiculous, which is pull out his knife and bunny hop around the corner to get as deep into ramp as possible before dying. As expected, he does find the breach on the lower ramp based on the utility we heard, and because this breach is so caught off guard by the insanely quick movement of the bunny hop around the corner, Brax can pick up an easy instant kill. This was extremely impressive of a kill by Brax, and then he moves up the ramp to check for anyone else up there using the last bit of his ult to see. He gets quite lucky to have the enemy miss the shot and gets the next kill. What just happened? Well, Brax just on his own completely got 2 kills, completely opened up A, and calls for his team to come plant because he's cleared sight. That's some serious entry frag. In the next clip, we see Brax make use of these good entry frag fundamentals to retake a site that has been actually lost already. He's got that crosshair placement and pre-aim on a location where he expects someone to push him as he's moving up through alley, catching an easy kill and a very quick headshot spray because of that placement. Moving up the stairs to tower, he catches out an omen. He knows there's someone up here in the tower, but doesn't know their exact location. So instead of tight peeking, he full wide swings and then catches the omen while he's in mid spray. Now we have a lot of angles to cover as we look down at sight. Making use of utility, he checks the close left corner under ropes, blinding out this Sage and picking up yet another free kill. In just a few seconds, Brax makes use of crosshair placement, positioning, and utility to turn this dire situation from a 2v4 retake into a 2v1 in his favor situation. Obviously, he's a very good player, and I really recommend you check out his stream. If you're looking to learn a role or play style, you know, practice is very important, but you should speed up your learning by watching and learning from players you know who are better than you. Try to emulate their gameplay. They don't even have to be a pro necessarily, but someone you know you can learn from. Twitch streams are great for this, YouTube videos. Don't just mindlessly play and hope for the best. Pick a role, research it, learn it, practice the hell out of it, and I promise you, you'll improve way faster. I'd recommend you check out my video on how to improve at Valorant for more good info, and come say hi on my stream sometime. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and I'll see you in the next video.